Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. I'm Parmelia Parham. I'm the founder of the Healing Institute, and we are an online worldwide hub of holistic practitioners. We are really wanting to make a difference in health and healing in the world. And I've used holistic ways to be well and stay well for well over 30 years, so I know that it works. And all of our holistic practitioners really help people get to what the root cause is of what's going on with them, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever the issue is. Our practitioners really get to the root cause. And I think that's what has been an issue with our present medical model that we've had for over 50 years, is that we only dealt with symptoms. We didn't really get to the root cause. And so that's what the Healing Institute is about. Now, the other reason it's an institute is because I'm passionate about educating people about how to be well, how to stay well. We're all on a health journey, so let's make it a proactive one rather than a reactive one. And I always talk about why as to why I got started with the Healing Institute. And it was actually due to a tragedy that we had in our family a number of years ago. My mom passed away at a very young age. She was only 61, and it was due to complications of a medication that she'd been on for a long, long time. And not once did her practitioner, her doctor ever mention to her that being on this medication for a long time could affect her kidneys. So unfortunately, she passed away just at Christmas. It was December 15th. I was 5 months pregnant with my son. And I say it's not only a tragedy that she passed away and died at a young age, but my children didn't get to meet their grandmother. And I really don't want that happening for other families. So the Healing Institute has just been a work of love and delight for me um, to show that we can actually have health and healing in the world. And we want to do it globally. We really want to touch a lot of people's lives. And so the podcast is I invite someone to come and talk about their area of expertise. This is our 105th episode, which is pretty cool. I've been doing this now for a little over 2 years. And our theme, I always pick a theme for the month. The theme is September is Splendid. So I just love September. I always feel like it's more like the new year than in January is. I've been talking to a lot of people about that, and everybody's kind of feeling the same way. My birthday's at the end of September, so it's also important to me to celebrate. And so today we are going to meet another visionary, Sue Anderson. So delighted to have you with us, Sue. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Oh, thank you.
Sue is a visionary. She's the founder of Triumph Communications. She also has this amazing retreat center called Wild Woods Retreat Center in Tennessee in the United States. And you also have Entrepreneurs Gone Wild newsletter. I have to sign up for that. I hadn't signed up for that yet. I love the title, Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. So we're going to talk about a number of things today. Sometimes we don't even know where the conversation is going to go, but Sue and I can talk for hours. So we're going to talk about how to grow the revenue in your business by stepping back into nature. And Sue's going to explain to us about her retreat and what she has in nature. And I just think it's a perfect topic for September's Splendid. Yes. So welcome, Sue. Wonderful to have you
Thank
here.
thank you so much. And it's splendid to be here in splendid September.
Yes.
What a great word.
So tell us a little bit about how you got to the point of creating this beautiful retreat in Tennessee.
Oh, thank you. It's actually a very strange story. For
I
I've been
love
a
those.
copywriter. I know,
They're the
right?
best. They're the best kind.
It is. It is. I've been a copywriter and business growth, working with words to help grow businesses for about 20 years. And Permelia, the first 17 years, I didn't even go outside because I thought we were supposed to just work until our work was done.
Mm,
And then
yes.
you can go outside after. And
Yes.
oddly enough, I was never finished working. So, so I just kept working and working. And I thought, maybe someday outside it's probably good for you or something like that. But I don't have time for that. So maybe someday. And then somebody challenged me to read this book called Three Simple Steps by a guy named Trevor G. Blake. And I was like very skeptical at first. He was talking about how in his 50s, he started creating businesses. He'd been a trained physicist and had worked, his whole life and decided to start making businesses. And now he has built numerous nine-figure businesses since turning
Wow.
50. And he was talking about only working a few hours a day. And I thought, I've heard this before with Tim Ferriss,
Yeah.
4 hour work week. Yeah, please. I
How
don't
does
even
that
believe it.
happen? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I knew somebody who knew him personally, and they said, no, it's real. And so I read, and he was saying that of those few hours a day that he works, most of it he was spending outside, walking his dogs in the woods. And I thought, that is crazy. What? How can you justify tending, And he said, that's where I get my best ideas. And he
Yeah.
said, neuroscience says if you're out in trees and you're out in
Yes.
nature and you're walking and all these different, like numerous different facts in
And moving your
neuroscience.
body, which is also very important, right?
Exactly. And he said that is what produces creativity. And I thought, whoa, all right. Well, maybe I should try this, but I'm probably not going to like it. At the time we were living in Alabama, and I thought, outside, it's hot and buggy and boring. What am I going to do out there? But I thought, fine, I'll try it. I had a really great attitude about this Permelia. I'm like kicking and screaming, fine,
Yeah.
I'll try it. I'm not going to like it though. But I did like it. And I dragged poor hubby outside. First thing, we'd have tea on the porch and just sit there and, yeah, we're outside. This is actually kind of nice. And it started to catch. After a while, I was kind of like a little fifth grader trying to get outside for recess. Like, can I sneak out? Do I have time before this next call? I'm just going to go out and do this real quick, or deadhead some roses, or things like that. After a couple months of doing this, I was on a long car ride driving, and I had done a couple other little exercises. Frank Kern presents a really good perfect average day exercise on YouTube.
Mm.
Fine, it's just all kind of percolating. And all of a sudden, Permelia, it wasn't audible, but it might as well have been a complete download going, hey, you should build a retreat center for entrepreneurs
Yeah.
in the Smokies because they don't get outside enough. And I believe that entrepreneurs make the world a much better place. They take ownership of a problem they didn't cause, and then they devote themselves to finding a solution and serving other people with it. That requires creativity. So I was like, okay. And I decided to pull over because there were too many ideas. You know how it is after
Yeah.
50. It's like the idea of, oh, I'll remember that. That's the biggest
Yeah.
lie in the
No,
world.
that's not happening.
No, no. So
I
I
I
pull
have
over.
pen and paper all the time.
It's
It's
so
like,
smart. Yeah, because you just, and I'm so glad that I did. I pulled over, I'm taking notes. And after a while, it wasn't stopping. And I thought, I have 5 hours to drive still. I gotta go. So I'm driving, I'm writing, I'm not looking at what I'm writing, but I'm driving a car and I'm taking notes. And it's just like, I hope this is going to be legible. I come home and the husband's there and he's like, so how was your ride? I'm like, hear me out. This is going to sound crazy. How about we sell everything, we go move to the Smokies, we build a retreat center for entrepreneurs and do this off grid? And he's like, sounds good.
oh
So,
wow.
God love him. Here
It,
we
it-
are.
yeah. It's wonderful when you have an entrepreneurial spouse.
Yes,
I have one
definitely.
too. So he
Oh,
totally gets
yes.
it. Yeah.
They understand that
Yeah.
craziness is going to happen
Yeah.
periodically. And, so we started talking about this project, and I'm kind of feeling people out. We ended up finding a couple of angel investors who helped us start buying the property.
Fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. So we found 30 acres, and it's Northeast Tennessee in Greene County. And it's gorgeous. There's this creek that runs the whole length of
Mm.
the property, and then pasture, and then most of the property is wooded hills.
Oh,
And it's
beautiful.
just stunning. And this time of year, it's like it is splendid. September.
Yeah. The trees are all starting to turn
They're
leaves, are they?
barely
Yeah. So
starting, so I
they're
know what's
got
coming.
that
Yeah.
beautiful color coming. Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. And there's about a quarter-mile path that we've put wood chips on. So it's like you could drive on it. We take the UTV, no cars though.
Yeah.
And it's starting to get all like, it's soft. It's that sense of, it just feels soft out in the forest.
Yeah,
It's
lovely.
lovely.
Oh, I want to be there right now.
I want you here.
Yes,
We can have fun.
yes.
So our plan is to put in about 20 geodesic domes, which for
Mhm.
listeners who haven't seen that, it kind of looks like an igloo, but then there's a swath of windows. So
Right.
you feel like you're under the stars and under the
Mhm.
trees, and it's very immersive. All off grid because we're very conscious about being stewards of this
Right.
land rather
Yeah.
than owners of it. And we want to
Right.
be really
Yeah.
gentle to it. So that's that. We have our very first geodesic dome. We're actually hubby and I are out there framing this weekend. We've got some finish up work to do because we've got guests coming soon. But it's very exciting, and we'll be
Wow.
doing a capital campaign starting Q1, doing some
Yeah.
crowdfunding to
Yeah.
finish it off. It's about $1 million project.
Yes. Yeah. But I really truly believe that this is what entrepreneurs not only need, but they want. They
Yes.
want to just have that time to get off the grid, to go into nature, to kind of fill themselves up with allowing themselves that space so that creativity can be accepted and attracted. I mean, you attract that
Yeah,
when you give yourself space to do that. Um,
absolutely.
I mean, I had no clue that the Healing Institute was going to be an international company. I was thinking that I would start something here in my small city where I live on Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada, because I had done something similar before when I had an event planning company, or even prior to that, I had created space for like an incubation for small businesses. They could just come in and rent out the office for the day or a week or whatever they needed, right? So that's what I was thinking of doing in the fall of 2019. And I thought, okay, well, I've done this model already, so that won't be too hard to kind of duplicate it. And of course, where I live, we have a lot of practitioners, a lot of metaphysical entrepreneurs. The center of Vancouver Island is known spiritually to be very energetic. So it makes sense. There's a lot of us that live here, whether we realized it or not. And so I would be asking entrepreneurs, when I went to psychic fairs and health fairs and women's expos, if you had a place to go where you could do your yoga retreat, or you could do your workshop, or even maybe have an office to see your clients every now, if you wanted that, would that be something you'd be interested in? And everybody was like, yeah, that would be great. So that's what I was doing in the fall of 2019. I was looking around my city to see what might be available that I could make. Well, then we know what happened in 2020. So now all of a sudden I'm on networking platforms. I've always done networking my whole life. I love to talk to people, as you can probably imagine. So I was in women's networking groups in person, and never been on online networking groups, but now everybody's online. Everybody's learning Zoom, and I was meeting people and other practitioners all over the world. And
Mm.
then that's when the download showed up. It was like, you could do this globally, and you could do this virtually. And I sometimes say, well, I had an idea, but God had a bigger idea. It's like, no, we're not going to confine it to just Vancouver Island. We're going to make it a little bit bigger than that.
Just a little bit.
Just
That's
a little bit.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah. So that's so important as well, just to let that creativity flow, right? And I truly believe, when we were first locked down in 2020, my sister and I would go for a lot of walks.
Mm.
And where we live in this small city, it's about a 20-minute walk to the beach.
Mm.
So we would do a walk down to the beach, walk along. There's a beautiful boardwalk that they've created. So, if you want to get into the sand, you can. And then we would walk back, and there's beautiful flowers all over the place, and the community park. And, and so I really truly believe it was those walks in nature that allowed my creativity to start to flow. in order for me to get that sort of understanding that really what I wanted to do was bigger than just having a building on Vancouver Island.
That's so amazing. And I love that you created that space, for the idea to land. Because, it's especially when, you had a plan and then all of a sudden the world goes kablooey. You can't
Yeah.
really do that one. A lot of people might have just forget it, I'm done. Giving up on it or trying to force it. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of ways that you could have gone. But I love that you just, went outside, took some walks. You weren't trying to solve this problem necessarily, but having that time and
Yes.
that movement, that it's amazing how
And
ideas will come that way.
and I was also very, very fortunate that these online networking groups that I was joining supported me in what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I had an amazing coach for a couple of years, and she got the vision. So,
Mm.
and then, just like you and I know, our coach from another company, they, you know, they have a vision that they can see what we can see. And that
Right.
is so supportive of what we're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
I, I think a vision, somebody having a vision is probably the most important thing a founder can have.
I
Because
agree.
it's going to pull you through. There's never going to be a super easy time in
No,
business. Like it can
no,
be it can be deeply fulfilling and all that, but I wouldn't use easy necessarily
no,
as
no,
the
I
word for
agree. Yeah, that I
it.
agree.
But when you've
Sometimes
got
you
that
think you're
vision,
going in one direction, and the next thing you know, you find you're actually going in another direction.
Exactly, exactly. But when you've got that strong vision to pull
Mhm.
you through and, to really see and feel, the people that you're serving. And like, I'll take walks each day here and I'll be, walking up around in the hill and I can see the people. People are going to think I'm nuts, like hallucinating, but I can see the people
Yeah,
here, I can
yeah,
hear them talking about how, I was just sitting under this tree and I got this great idea. Or, oh, I
yeah,
met this person and we were just hanging around the campfire because, there's that communal element as well that,
exactly. And you feed off of each other,
yes.
and of course, as you know, I do a lot of energy work with the body code. And so you get that energy from another person when you're meeting them, and they see your vision, or they're impressed, they're really wanting to know more about exactly how you planned it or what you're doing. And they might have a couple of ideas that you hadn't thought of, and then you can
For sure.
incorporate that into what you're thinking of doing. So yeah, I love that, and I love the fact that the retreat that you're building, the wild woods retreat that you're
Mhm.
building, um, really is really going to be an environment that is going to
Oh
support
yeah,
entrepreneurs. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. And it's amazing because I love Zoom. You're like,
Mhm.
you and I would never have met if we
We
didn't
would
have,
have never met if we
I
didn't go
mean,
Zoom. Yeah.
it's incredible to have, this wonderful technology. But I think there's something so special about being face to face.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
even more when it's unrushed,
Yeah.
so you're not like, oh, all right, gotta go. I got another call. Gotta go. Oh, I
Yeah.
gotta go do, And so sitting around a campfire, just maybe sharing a walk in the woods, something
Yeah.
like this, it's a whole different type of relationship that people can build. So we're
Yeah.
really excited. I think it's going to solve some problems for, these change makers in the world, these
Yeah.
entrepreneurs with their creative ideas, and who knows who they're going to get to meet and bond with and create
Oh, yes.
amazing things
And,
with.
I was just talking to a couple of people this week as we were leading up to the podcast, and I was telling them about your retreat and that you're in Tennessee, and they're like, and that I called them yurts, so I apologize
That's
that
okay.
wasn't
It's
calling
close.
them was calling them exactly what the geometric domes, is that how you
Geodesic domes, but yeah.
geodesic domes.
Mhm.
So, and they were all excited. And I'm like, well, come to the podcast and meet Sue because, this is going to be really cool. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So people, I really believe people are, are thirsty. They're
Yeah.
thirsty and ready and needing, whether they know they need it or not, they do.
That's
because
true.
there's just so much chaos that's going on in the world right at the moment. We
Yeah.
need something that's going to calm our autonomic nervous system. A
Mm.
walk in the woods, at, the Wild Woods retreat, that would calm
Yeah.
me right down. That would
Oh,
just
for
be so
sure.
beautiful. Yeah.
For sure. And then the off-grid nature of it too. So
Yes.
yes, you can probably get a Wi-Fi signal, or not a Wi-Fi signal, but you can get online with your phone.
Right.
Most carriers, most of the time. But we're really hoping that people will we're going to have like a little lockbox. If you want to lock
Mhm.
your phone away, cool. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But I'm really hoping that people
Yeah.
will take that opportunity just to not have notifications buzzing. Go sit outside
Yeah.
and not have, podcasts are wonderful. Obviously, I love
Yep.
them. I have one, you have one, I'm on them, but we don't need them in our ears all the time. And
Yeah.
I think if they can just sit, it's going to be, for some, it may be very uncomfortable at first because
But
we've
that's
had these
okay.
phones. It's
Uncomfortable
okay.
actually is good.
Yes. Yes.
We've been taught to kind of run away from uncomfort, but
Yeah,
that's actually telling us something. It's actually
exactly.
telling us that, either there's something brewing that we need to be aware of, or that if we're uncomfortable, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, I believe we're being told that something needs to shift, something needs
Mm.
to change. And we haven't been really taught that. We haven't really been taught how to sit with uncomfort and
Exactly.
recognize it for the creative ability that it probably could be, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And you think back to when we were kids, right? I know I was bored a lot as a kid. I
Oh,
read and
me
read and
too.
read,
Yeah.
like long Carter, anything like, oh, I'm bored, I'm bored. But I know that that sparked a lot of the creativity that I
Mhm.
have.
Yeah.
And I've talked so Entrepreneurs Gone Wild is a newsletter and a podcast. And so I interview entrepreneurs who get their best ideas
Yeah.
outdoors. And I hear it, week after week after week. Oh, I got the idea for my whole business. I was laying in a hammock,
Yeah.
like what? Like, oh, I was sitting under this tree. That one right there, I have a picture of it. And I got this, it's amazing. But I think there's that moment, we're told to hustle, to run, to keep working, work our face off. I've heard people say that.
Oh,
You can sleep
yes.
when you're dead,
Yeah. Well,
and that's exhausting.
it is
And yet,
exhausting.
it's like, but with the pause and a little bit of boredom, that's where stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it's really, really cool. So I'm
Yeah, I
excited.
agree. Yeah, I agree with you. I think our world is, our societies have been kind of nurturing us just to be busy,
Yeah,
thinking we're being productive because we're busy. But we know that that's not necessarily the case. We could just be busy for being busy, not because we're
right.
actually doing anything productive. And
Oh,
so to
yeah.
take that time, to be able to take the time to just sit and be. That's why I love living on Vancouver Island. One of the main reasons that I love living here is because we're close to the forest, we're close to the ocean. The beaches are beautiful. They're not white sand, they're rocks and driftwood, and you have to navigate your way around. But the calming effect is just like 200%. So
Wow.
it just makes it really worthwhile to realize. And so many, everyone I meet, we always say, oh, we live in paradise. We just love
Mhm.
living here because
That's
it
so
is
good.
it really nurtures our soul. It really
Mhm.
feeds what we need, just what you and I are talking about. Uh,
Yeah.
and a lot of entrepreneurs are here. So,
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a hot spot for
it's
sure.
a hot spot. Yes. Well, this
That's
has just been
beautiful.
delightful. And thank you so much for being part of the podcast and coming and talking about the your Wild Woods retreat. We'll get the information out to people. I'm gonna and post it again on LinkedIn and Facebook and also Instagram later this afternoon. And I'll tag you on all of those. And then we'll also be able to let people know about your retreat. And I've got your information, your contact information. So we'll put that in what we call the show notes so people can connect with you and contact you. So,
Sounds lovely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the
oh
opportunity
yeah.
to come and speak about this.
Yeah, wonderful. Yes, exactly. So we just want people to know that we have a vision to create a community of expert health practitioners. We customize whatever you need. It's not one size fits all. So whatever you're looking for, our health practitioners and our holistic practitioners are available. Our motto is service with love, and we really truly believe that. And we have a big ask. We want people to know about us. We want people to know about the Healing Institute, about the amazing practitioners that we have. So please share this podcast with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Let people know about us. And you got to meet another great visionary today, Sue Anderson. Thanks so much, Sue.
Thank you, Permelia.